Hey y'all, how y'all doing? We're gonna get it started here. I'm gonna take that little banner off there. We're gonna talk about it today. We're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna open up the panel. I got some friends that I've invited here, and hopefully we're gonna have even more friends come on board here and talk. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about the trauma of it all, the trauma bonding. I have receipts. I have discussions because I don't want any of us to go through this any more than we need to. And I believe very strongly that we need to be paying attention to all sides of this coin. So let me play my intro and then we'll welcome everybody in the room. Welcome to this very special edition of the Sunday Soul Podcast, the Black Edition, that will soon be renamed. We're going to do this as a new podcast. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for come on in the room. So let folks know. I let the Twitter folks know. I let the Instagram folks know that we're here. And I am ready to go. We are live on Facebook and at the same time. So hopefully I'll get to see some of the Facebook chats here as well. So I know I spoke to some of you guys, but hey, Corey, how you doing? Hey, Miss Melinda. Laugh gags and gossip. I'm about to drop the link in a second here. Sean, hello. How are you? Ooh, something happened at 33. I need to know what happened at 33, baby. Thank you for being here, Andrea. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ceresia, for being here. Hey, Diva. Thanks. We'll make sure that we can have you up here. Hey, Diva, thank you for being here. Velma, hello. Melissa Dean, hello. Tina, how are you, darling? How are you? Stay as long as you can. Hey, Miss Debbie. Hey, Illuminating Mystic. Hey, Miss Rosie. Hey, Miss Serena. All right. Hello. Hey, fam. Hey, Tomb Fan 84. How you doing? All right. Welcome. I'm going to let me just give a little intro, then I'm gonna drop the link. Hey, matching birthdays for happiness. Hello, love. You all, please, thank you. I want to welcome everybody here. Here's my welcome. Okay, welcome everybody here. If you like what you hear a little bit later, you give it a like, you give me a subscribe. We talk about all kinds of different things here, but it's really centered around a lot about spirituality. But I need to have this discussion. I need to have this discussion because there's a lot of traumatic things that have happened to all three of these people. And I think at least one of them is also putting in some trauma. Y'all, this got to come out my head. I can't handle this no more. Now, y'all be good to a sister because I got to take this out of my head. This is supposed to help me ward off an evil eye. So I don't want none of y'all put no evil eye on me now that I took my little protection charm out my head. But we got to talk about the trauma bonding. We got to talk about the trauma bonding. So thank y'all as well. Moderators, I want y'all to know we're probably going to end up with more people here than normal. There's going to be quite a bit of traffic. We're not blocking people unless they get way out of hand. Okay? Put them on a timeout, or unless they're one of those adult bots, they got to go. Hello, you and your feelings. How you doing? How are you? Hey, Miss Jeanette. I also want to let everybody know that we are all able to be a part of this conversation, but some of it might end up being a little bit of a family conversation. I don't want anybody to feel they can't be a part of it, but I also want you to understand that there's just some things that as a family, we just going to have to talk about. Okay? As a family, we just going to have to talk about it. Okay. I'm going to give a little bit here and then I know only love and light. Listen, I'm just joking. I'm going to give a little bit of background here and then we're going to start the panel discussion. Now, the reason why we call this trauma bonding, okay, the reason why we call this trauma bonding is because last night on an Instagram live I had, it got brought up that the question got asked, could this potentially be trauma bonding? Okay. Could this be trauma bonding? Laughs Diva, if Mims is in here, if Gabor is in here, I know there's somebody else. Queen Tulsa, Laughs Diva, Queen Tulsa, Gabor, I'm gonna drop this link right here for y'all. Let me put it in the YouTubes of it all. I'm gonna drop this link, and then everyone else, we're gonna drop it as well. For everyone else. But that link, y'all can come on backstage when you're ready. We all know and we all agree, okay, we all agree that Will should not have hit that man. Hey, Lass. Hey, baby. Oop, up. Oh, come on back. I hope I didn't drop you. There she is. Hey, girl, how you doing? There she is. I can't make sure your microphone settings. Yep. Oh, I love
Thank
those
you for
glasses.
having me. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So we're just gonna start this right away and say we all agree that Will should never have put hands on Chris. We all agree to that. What I think that, and you brought this up on my Instagram live last night. What I think that a lot of people are missing are some of the factors that precipitated the explosion. And a lot of those factors go way back to childhood for all three of these people. Now, I am going to put Jada in here because there's a few things she could have done different. But I think there's a history, and we'll have to talk about that another time. There's a history here, and that contributed to the snapping. Okay? There's a history that contributed to the snapping in their relationship. Um, but I want you, Lass, if you don't mind, you tell us why you even began to think about this as a trauma bonding situation. Do you want to share with us how that even happened?
Sure. I'd been reading and just kind of looking at the history of all of the individuals. And we do know that Chris Rock, he recently came on and talked about the fact growing up in the environment that he grew up in, he was severely bullied. He's also come out and said that he has somewhat of a it's kind of something on the spectrum. I don't want to quote it because I don't have the exact acronyms or name of it, but he shared with people that he has some kind of a disability where he's unable to read reactions and emotions. And then we also know that Will Smith talks about it in his book and on interviews, the fact that his father was abusive to his mother, that there was some physical abuse within their relationship, and that he's always wanted to avenge his father's, the way he treated his mom. And then we know Jada has gone on record to say that her mom was addicted to drugs. And I believe, I don't want to quote it, but maybe I don't want to talk about her drug of choice, but that she had a very rough upbringing, which is one of the reasons she talks about how she bonded with Tupac. So
Mm-hmm.
when the doctor and I were speaking last night, we're just talking about it, and it's like when I take a step back, I see three people intersecting, dealing with their history and all the trauma that they had as children. Will talks about wanting to avenge his mother's situation, and
Mm-hmm.
actually talks about wanting to hurt his dad. Remember, he talks
Mm-hmm.
about wanting to do that. And
Yep.
then Chris is finally dealing with all of this and going through therapy. And then Jada, I mean, she's always trying to deal with this at the Red Table Talk. She thinks she can heal everybody else, but she still hasn't healed herself. So for
Right.
me, I saw the intersection, three people living out all of that trauma from their childhood.
Absolutely. So, so what it is NVLD, and I actually pulled some stuff up here so we can have this. Corey, if you want to find the link whenever you're ready to come to. I want this to be a very open discussion, and I'm glad that we're going to have. I did invite some of the men folk. We'll see if they're going to be willing to come and hang out with the women today. Oh, they might
Great
not.
to get a different perspective from the fellas, of course.
Absolutely. So we hopefully the men folk will come on in here too. Um, so it's called NVLD, nonverbal language disorder. Okay,
Okay.
nonverbal language disorder. And what that is, it's very similar to Asperger's, where he cannot read cues. Okay,
Okay.
he can't read nonverbal cues very well at all. Oh, looky here. Look what we're gonna have a full house today. Hey, AT2, how you doing, darling?
What's up? I just had to close out the tab. Do I sound good?
Yep, you sound perfect.
Okay, I just had to close out another tab, so I didn't have two tabs open. How y'all doing?
Hey,
We doing
AT2.
great. Hey, Corey, we doing great. Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi, Corey.
Good.
Corey, you might have to change your what you call it
Hey,
settings, your microphone setting. There you are, girl. There you are. So so we were just picking up, and I thank you guys for coming up and helping us all as we work through this. I'm approaching this from a traumatic childhood, young adulthood stance. Okay? That's how I want to approach this. Welcome, Andrea. Welcome, girl. Um because we're talking about this in so many different ways, and I think that maybe if we could talk about it this way, hopefully some of us will stop being so ready to cancel out people. Okay, hopefully some of us will be ready to actually find some way to have some grace. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for. All right, all right. So the NVLD, we're gonna pick it up there. The NVLD is similar to Asperger's. So he can't pick up on certain cues. Okay. Corey, let me know in the private chat when you're ready to come back up, okay, sis? Because I don't think I hit it. I gotta see what's happening. Oh, here we go. Hey, Diva. Oh no, that's not Diva. Who man?
Hey,
Hi, who is this?
Chronicles.
don't ask.
Brendan, you have to leave the room.
Ah,
Okay, not sure who that is.
It was my son.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Corey. I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's fine. We started talking about Asperger's, and he's an expert. He has it.
Okay, all right. Then I can bring him
Oh,
back up
okay.
then. I apologize. I'll bring him. I wasn't sure. I'm so sorry, dear.
No, that's fine.
I apologize. Let's bring him back up. All right, darling. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry, dear.
different name.
Okay. All right. So this is good. So can you give us some insight when you're someone that has Asperger's or something similar to that? How is that for you in interacting with other people? Like, what would you like people to understand about that?
Well, I would like people to understand is that it's hard. I'm just gonna say it outright. It's hard. It's hard when you can't really understand certain social cues or emotions or read anybody these facial expressions. It's just hard all around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Me
And
having sorry.
no, you're fine, honey. And would you like people to? I can't only imagine. I have a niece that's autistic, and I have my son has kind of more. Not as bad now, but it was kind of more severe ADHD, and we have the kind of that spectrum running through our family. I think uh, you get misunderstood a lot, don't you?
A lot more than you think.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because people don't really recognize that you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings.
Mm-mm. Just yesterday, I I was in. I think I was in a way of a woman trying to get to somewhere, get to the freezer section in a store. Mom said she rolled her eyes, but I wasn't sure what happened. I had my headphones on to filter out the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened. I was just
Mm-hmm.
my business, listening to my music and
Mm-hmm.
filtering background noise because that's also irritating to someone with Asperger's and autism.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not really big fans of touch. We don't like people touching us.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's enough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And and I bet people think that, you say something, or like the woman, you didn't see her rolling her eyes, not that she should have by something so minor. But I bet there's things sometimes you'll say and you don't think that you're saying anything wrong. It's just the God's honest truth, isn't it? It's just kind of plain. So you don't
Un-
mean any harm by it, do you?
no, I don't. It's just unfiltered candor.
Yes. I love that. Unfiltered candor. I love
Mm.
that. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think we need to take this into consideration with Chris Rock. While that can make him a great comedian, he might not know where the line should be or shouldn't be.
That's true, but in
Okay.
my opinion, both of them are wrong.
Yeah.
Chris Rock was wrong for insulting Jada, and Will was wrong for putting his hands on somebody. I've gotten into some fights in my time.
You
None
have,
of,
huh?
none of them, one but neither of us came out on top.
Yeah. Yeah. When you got into those fights, sweetheart, can I ask you a question? Because this has been something that I want to bring out today. After you
Mhm.
got into those fights, how did you feel afterwards?
Sometimes sad,
Yeah.
sometimes glorious, sometimes it's a complicated thing when you get into a fight.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
One hand, you're defending yourself, your honor, the honor of your family.
Mm-hmm.
On and it's putting your hands on somebody else's child.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good feeling.
How would you have felt if that had happened to you? I think you're probably one of the best people that anybody has asked that question to. How would you have felt had that happened to you?
Well, the one that felt I wouldn't have been happy about it. That's for sure.
Mm.
That's right. Yeah. And what would you like us to understand, if I could ask you? What would you like for us to understand
Is
about this
that
situation? Mhm.
this situation? Where do I begin? First off, it could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Chris Rock didn't have to go off script. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying he didn't really have to go off script and do those things. And could have understood that he's got a disability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not. And sometimes violence is not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
After the show, pulled him aside, talked to him, without a need for for throwing hands. I think that's the colloquial term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just
I
one big.
completely agree.
Sorry.
Go ahead, baby. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
It's just one big mess. A
Yes.
mess doesn't have to happen. I
Yes.
think we have to learn something from this.
Absolutely. What do you think we can learn from this, dear? I want to hear from you.
I think we can learn to understand people better if we just sit down, stop talking, and listen.
I think that's the best thing that I have heard
I
in
agree
a
too.
week
Absolutely.
of us all discussing this.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best thing we could have heard. Thank
That's
you
Yeah.
my
so
baby.
much. That is amazing.
Thank
Well,
you.
sir, you're welcome. You know what? Um, if you want to stay, you can. I'm going to start reading through um, some articles, and we're going to start discussing them. Is that okay? If you want to drop down, you can. It's up to you. All right.
I'll stay. Offer my opinion if it's wanted.
Of course it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right,
You're
guys.
welcome.
All right. See, hey, we have a budding panelist here. There we go. All right. What I want to do, and now, so we were talking about Chris. So if y'all will indulge me, let's read this article. We're going to start talking about this a little bit here about Chris Rock. Because yes, I did bring receipts, child. You know how we got to bring the receipts. So now Chris Rock told Howard Stern. Now this is back in 2020, September 30th, 2020, how he got revenge on a childhood bully. I don't necessarily, but this is going to actually go to why Chris was the way he was. I wonder, hang on, guys. I'm gonna have to stop the share, and I'm gonna have to let me stop this here. All right, let me share this with sound. I might have receipts, but I'm not always prepared. I don't have to do this all the time. This is a one-woman show. Until I get a producer, y'all.
Right.
Cut me a little slack. Here we go. And we're going to bring this up. Let me see here. All right. Why? Oh, it would help.
Childhood and how he was constantly bullied. And it wasn't until a little bit later in life that he got revenge on one of those bullies when he ran into him on the set of his movie Top 5.
I was doing a movie a couple of years ago, and one of my bullies was working security on the movie, who literally one day in school turned me upside down and shook the money out of my pockets. And I just gave him just a quick look like, hey, man, I hope you're doing well. You take care. And I kept it moving. I didn't like, get him off the set, get him fired. It's like his sin has punished him. He could have been my friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? He could have been in the trailer with us watching The Godfather. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he had to go through that whole day and to be so close to me, but yet so far.
Right. You got your revenge. Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything. You ever watch
Kind of reminds me like the Pretty Woman, big mistake.
Yeah,
Huge.
So that to me, let me stop that. That to me shows me that Chris Rock's response, he's gained this ability to kind of still not even to this day at 50, at that point, he would have been 55 years old to confront his bullies. Have any of y'all heard about the extent to which he was bullied in school? I'm going to open this up for the panel. Labs or AT2 or Andrea or Corey, have y'all heard to the extent to which he was bullied in school?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. And most of the things that he wrote in Everybody's Hates Chris actually happened to him, like the batteries and all of that.
Right. And he even said in another section of this interview, how some of what had happened to him was not quite fully uh, mm, SA, but it was close. So if you can imagine not being diagnosed with this, because of course at that time, I mean, I'm in my mid 50s, so autism and all that wasn't a thing. That honestly wasn't a thing, not like now. So you're going through, you don't really understand the cues. He's a dark skinned young man at an all white school.
Yeah.
Don't pick up the cues, and you're already getting bullied simply because of that.
Right.
And so you don't have
And he was
anybody.
little. He was really kind of little and slim.
Right. He was the smallest of all of his people. So the people that were there. So this to me, I'm actually gonna divert this to AT2. I don't know if you feel I'm well enough to talk, my brother, but and you're helping to raise, you're raising your young cousin now. How do you feel like, as a man now, going through this as a young boy, what do you feel about his whole where he's at right now?
I feel that where Chris is at right now, it's a process. Like, it's not one day, he's going to be okay and like all this goes away. I think there's going to be triggers and things happen that makes him think of this situation. I think also too, he could have not had anyone to talk to about this either. That's what I'm thinking as well. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm thinking that he probably felt very alone. I think a lot of times when we deal with bullying, we don't necessarily share it with our parents. I know I didn't when I was little. So you never really know what truly is going on unless, a child tells you.
Right. Well, AT2, I didn't know you were being bullied.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody dealt with bullying when they were little.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Unless
But I
you
don't
was
think we talk about it. See, this is the point of me having this conversation today. We don't talk about it, right? Like, we don't discuss it.
Right.
And
So
how
I want to jump in, and I was going to say, I grew up in the Bay Area, and I went to a Catholic school, and we were bullied by the public school kids. I mean, even up into high school, it was just because we had to wear uniforms, and so we were easily identifiable, and it's just torturous, catching the bus. We would get out maybe a half an hour earlier than the public school kids, but if we happened to cross intersections, we were bullied. They wanted to fight us and call us names, and so I grew up with that. It wasn't just me, but it was just being a Catholic school girl. Period. Bullied.
Right.
But how does this then affect us as we become adults? Right? Because, I was bullied too. Now I embrace the gap in my teeth. But of course, way back then, I was called all manner of things. And actually, my teeth, like I actually had buck teeth. So my teeth are straight. We didn't close the gap, which I'm fine with. But, it was all kinds of horrible things that I was called. And my mother was not always the best. She could not do hair very well. Sorry, Denise. I love you. But she did the best she could. Okay, we got more folks here. Hello, joining us is Queen Tulsa. Hey Ricky, how you doing? Sorry guys, I didn't see you back there.
How's it going?
Good. We're just kind of
it's about to get popping.
Now listen, I want everybody to act right, because see, I'm not like some of these young folks. I will mute you. I will mute your mic. Okay? Just letting it. Don't get out of order.
Say you not the Oscars, huh? You will cut up.
I ain't the Oscars. I'll cut it off. No, we're good here. This is a peaceful place. This is a peaceful place for us to come and talk about this. But we don't deal with what can happen as an adult, or how we then respond to certain things, or how we go through life then, because we dealt with this trauma because we never really deal with it, especially us, right?
Yeah.
We don't go and get counseling. You know, you just supposed to handle it. If somebody been kicking your behind at school and you come home to mama, and I said it too, don't come home with your butt kicked next time because you gonna have to fight me.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I mean that I said it. So
Well, listen, Heart of Inspiration.
I don't think we, huh?
Since we're right there, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, to piggyback off of that, when we talk about trauma, you know, who their children saw what happened, right? And then if we want to talk about trauma, trauma
Mm-hmm.
starts at a young age. So let's be aware of the um generational curse, the generational misinformation. I'm sorry, I just want to step in and point that out.
No, that's fine. Because I want to get us to that point too, to talk about what this means now moving in the future. But we got to deal with the past first, because we don't ever deal with the past. That's part of our problem. We don't deal with the past, right?
That's true.
And granted, our past is not us per se, but if we don't deal with the demons of our fathers and of our mothers, and that we had to deal with as children, then as adults, we just gonna keep, to your point, pushing it on. But I want us to understand why maybe Chris has reacted. Granted, we can say he's a class act, and I'm not saying he's not. But I think his response has more to do with the fact that he grew up bullied and he was thoroughly embarrassed. And then what I'm hearing happen backstage, he kind of ended up cowering as that child all over again. He was reduced to a child being bullied at school.
You know, inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
I do also think that the incident where he tried to retaliate against the bullies and he put a brick in his backpack and almost beat one of them to death had something to do with him not reacting as well. He mentioned that I can't remember which outlet he mentioned that on, but it was brought on, I think ET brought it up.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
So I
So
think
you
a lot
think
of
that he
that
toned it.
had
Go
him
ahead.
not to hit Will back.
Right. That had some conditioning. Go
Can I
ahead.
add something in?
Yes, please.
I got bullied all the way up until I was a senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was, the same guy, we repeated the same grade together, was the same guy who was always giving me hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
One day I had enough of his shit. And I had gotten into an argument with my parents the morning before I went to school because they broke a promise to me. I was supposed to be having my driver's license by prom, so I had to cancel my prom date, and I'm mad as hell now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm walking by him, he's saying the same thing that he normally says, you know, about me having a big butt and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, now keep in mind, I studied martial arts from the time I was 13 up until this time. And it felt like it defeated the purpose of knowing martial arts because now I, you know, even though I knew how to fight back, I still couldn't.
Right.
But this one day, I was like, you take the first swing on me. And we would end it today. And, you know, his friends was like, ooh, you know, and I was like, I'm ready for this. When he swung on me, he, his face went into the payphone.
Oh.
I grabbed his arm. I dislocated his shoulder. And when I got the back of his head, I put all of my weight along with his into a payphone.
Yeah.
I almost got expelled.
Yeah.
I had to stand in front of the school board and give them a reason of why I should not be expelled. They were like, well, you know, you're a martial artist. I'm like, but this has been going on since the second grade.
Right.
Now, the thing was, after I done this, I felt a lot better about myself. I could look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I started excelling. My grades went up. When I graduated high school, I felt like a brand new man because I didn't have to deal with someone constantly abusing me every day.
Right.
Now, the thing is, when I tell people that are bullied, even if you get your ass kicked, stick up for yourself. Because if you don't, it's going to keep going on. And this is the way people will treat you in life. You know, people wasn't, you know, I didn't take people's crap anymore after that moment in time. You know, coworkers would, you know, yell at me or crack jokes, or people, you know, my other peers. Nobody did that anymore because I wouldn't allow it to happen. You got to respect yourself. Now, the same thing with what happened with Will Smith, on the other hand, he was the bully in that situation. Will Smith stands how much taller than Chris Rock, studied martial arts as well, and he put his hands on another man for cracking a joke. He was the bully in that situation.
I'm not going to deny that, but we about to get on Will's behind in just a second here.
All right.
Will's is coming. So yes, he was the bully in that situation. And I see some commentary here. Just y'all know I'm cool with the commentary as long as we don't have a lot of cursing acting up in the darn thing. Okay. So Will Smith is a beta. I have heard a lot of men say that as well. I have heard men. What'd you say?
I said not the beta alpha. Like I feel
Go
like
ahead,
I've been doing
18.
that,
Come
like,
on,
the
18.
last year, and I'm all like, oh Lord, not the beta alpha conversation. Because everybody think beta alpha, but there's more betas than alphas. But go ahead, Art Inspiration. I just wanted to say that.
I'm gonna welcome Melinda J and Gray Hair Diva to the party. Hi there.
Hey.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hello,
So-
beautiful. Hello, beautiful people.
Oh, this is just such a lovely Sunday. I'm so happy to spend it with y'all. Now, listen, y'all. So listen, this is the thing. I don't want to have necessarily alpha beta conversation because that just goes to a whole nother thing. But let's talk about how Will went back to being 9. And I'm going to show you why, guys. I'm going to show you exactly why. We're going to share this on my screen here, this little so some of y'all may or may not know. I'm going to see if I can blow this up a little bit so that we can see it better. Oh my goodness, child. You think I would know how to work my own computer these days, but
I'm going to be watching from the audience. I'm going to put my cam down. I'm getting ready to eat, so I'll be watching.
Okay. Thank you for coming up. Thank you, Ricky.
Hey, send me a plate.
Yes, Ricky.
Okay,
Ricky.
keep this up. Your internet is going in and out, baby.
Oh, somebody internet.
I know this is gonna be hard for y'all to see this, so I might have to take everybody's video down. So just give me just 1 second so people can read this. Okay, guys, we're gonna put everybody right back up. Minutes here as I bring everybody back up. Is this, I don't think at any point in time a child where are we at? Diva, you're on. Oh wait, this one maybe. No, not this one. We're gonna remove this one and bring you here. There we go. That 9-year-old child. Oh, there was no sound. Did y'all hear anything I just said?
No, ma'am.
My bad. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize when I dropped my video down that y'all couldn't hear nothing. Basically, the article says, I'll just read it from the background. The article says that when he was 9 years old, he stood by watching helplessly as his father committed domestic violence on his mother. And that was a moment that shaped his identity. He says, I couldn't shake the idea that I had failed my mother and I was somehow unworthy of love and care because of my cowardice. And that was the beginnings of wanting to overachieve and wanting to create and wanting to win and wanting to build an external life that could somehow and hopefully overcome the pain. My understanding from that incident, in that moment, she incurred such injuries that she spit up blood. And here he is with his two siblings. One was like kind of like this great protector, the other one kind of like retreated, and he was kind of left in this middle space of being the pleaser and then trying to keep his father laughing, because his father had such a drinking problem and such an anger-ish problem and all this stuff going on, that if he could keep him laughing, then the craziness would stop. This is at 9 years old. He then goes on to say that, oh, but I created this great life and I'm happy that all this happened and it made me the man I am today. But I'm going to submit to the jury for their consideration that that person we saw go up on that stage was 9-year-old Will hitting 9-year-old Chris, because 9-year-old Will still had yet to deal with fully his feeling that he was able to protect, not necessarily the moment, but it was the culmination of a lot. And now I'm going to be quiet. Hey, make it make sense. Hello?
Hi, panel
Yeah.
members. Laugh gags and gossip. You got something to sound off on?
She's on mute.
You're muted, baby.
You're on mute.
I was trying to be respectful and give everybody else an opportunity, but I totally agree with what you said, and I also think that Will was he's on the heels of portraying King Richard, who was fiercely protective of his family, and to some degree he's still, I mean, this is a recent role for him. So I think he took that moment again to try to, you know, avenge something that he wanted to do as a child.
Yeah, I agree.
I disagree. I do believe that he has trauma, right? But my thing is, all your life, you got 50 years, and now all of a sudden it just resurfaces now. Usually trauma doesn't pick its way and when the time is going to show up. Do you understand what I mean? So there were several incidents along the way. Will has been showing sprinklings of stuff of how he addresses it, and it's coming out now, unfortunately, but that's usually what happens when an incident major happens, and everybody wants to come out and say what they experienced before. So I don't think he was in role. He's done so many movies. He done Muhammad Ali when you was punching and fighting people and you didn't punch nobody out then over words that they said. I do believe in that particular moment he snapped. I do believe it is a combination of a lot of things that is currently going on in his life. But I also believe on the flip side that little 9-year-old, if you want to say that about Will Smith, if somebody else was on that stage and said something about Jada, I don't think the reaction would have been the same. So I really think that, in some way, shape, or form, he didn't come there set out to do that to Chris, but he did come there with some anger and some resentment towards them already, because Chris had dug in on their family for years, since 2016, and that whole Oscar debacle. So that was just what they say, the icing on the cake. It had a lot to do with the history between the two men and the fact that he snapped and he went up there and did it, right? But I'm telling you, in my heart, wholeheartedly, I believe it, like Steve Harvey said, if another comedian was on that stage and said something, 9-year-old Chris would have stayed seated in his seat.
That could be. I'm just bringing up the fact that I don't think that it's ever truly been dealt with. And I know for me, growing up in a household with domestic violence, it ended up, I deal with some of it and deal with some of it, but it would keep showing up in little spots all up until I really, 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 really dealt with it. And that was not till my late 40s, early 50s. So I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. I agree with you that had it been a Steve Harvey, I don't think he would have jumped up there. Had it been a Dave Chappelle, I don't think he would have jumped up there. Had it been a Richard Pryor, God rest his soul, or, I don't think that would have happened. But I am also wondering if those other folks would have made the same joke.
But Heart of Inspiration, you made a good point. It wasn't Steve Harvey nor any of the other people that you mentioned that was going in on Jada in 2016.
That's true too.
Right, but that's why I'm saying it wasn't just his 9-year-old showed up, and it wasn't just the unchecked or unpeeled situation between him and his family. It was a history between two men. It was a history between one of the men who is a comedian, and they used to, in some way, shape, or form, they were familiar with each other. Some people saying they were friends. I believe it is a mixture of all of the above. And when you have your own friend, okay, if your friend is a comedian, they want to say a joke. All right, say a joke, because everybody might be joking about it at the moment. But you don't drag me for filth as a friend for years to come. It is also, I think, out there that I think Sherelle has spoke about it, how Will Smith gave Tony Rock like a job back in the day. So there is some connection between them. So all of this, imagine at least a friend, and a friend that you helped give a family member a job, and now they want to decide you're the butt of their joke for years. 2016 to 2022 is a long time. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. And every time you get up that stage, you got to talk about me and my family. Like, slow your roll. Calm down. You're a comedian. If you're a good one, there's other jokes that you can say that can make the people laugh besides focusing on me and my family.
So let me ask you this though, and then I want everybody to feel like they can join in. I want people just to think this is just us three going out or going with each other. Well, let me ask you this. So this has been built up for all this time, because I'm gonna stick to my 9-year-old Will. What if 9-year-old Will was like, I don't watch this happen to my mother all these years and I ain't done nothing yet, and tonight was the snapping point. That I'm not saying 9-year-old Will in the same sense of protecting his mother, but in a sense, yes, that. And I also think that 9-year-old Will hasn't checked Jada up until some of the other things that have gone on, because he absolutely does not want to hurt her as a female. Maybe not, because he ditched his, what was Shireen? He kicked her to the curb, so I don't know. But what if it just had built up to the point where he really felt like he had to defend her to the ultimate?
Defend Jada? Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, defend
No,
Jada.
go ahead, sis.
The thing is, when he's saying, like, he's a grown man that was able to make millions.
Something in him snapped.
No, that's what I wholeheartedly believe. Something in him snapped.
Yeah.
And that's why he went up there. I've been saying this for a while. I don't connect with the fact like he came there setting out to do this. I just really think even the look on his face, the way he turned around and went back to his seat. And then when he sat down and yelled out, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." And even after Chris Rock said, okay, like he was realizing like, this man is pissed, obviously, because you just came up and slapped me. And then he said it again. He snapped. He really did snap. Now, is the part of the snapping, could it relate back to childhood? Could it relate back to the fact that Chris Rock been talking about them for a while? Could it relate back to the world was kind of making a joke about the entanglement and all that? I'm sure all of those pieces have a part to do with the whole puzzle and him snapping that night. And unfortunately, Chris Rock got the brunt of all of that packaged together. I'm not 100% sure that is all connected back to, the mom and in those days and what happened with the dad or whatever the case may be. It could be a piece of it. But I think the major portion of this is the fact that they were the in Hollywood couple who was married all of these years. And then all of a sudden, when it was found out that Jada stepped out and that this whole happened, it was a high level embarrassment for him. He had trouble dealing with that. And then now everybody joking about him, because he even had told 50 Cent too, because 50 Cent made a joke about it like right after the red table, and he lost it on 50 Cent. Okay. So he is, I think, is really a lot of pent up anger from people making a joke about that entanglement, and he had enough of it. And he snapped that night.
Well, tell Jada to keep her mouth closed and stop talking about it. When she talks about August, she has this big old grin on her face. She's so in love, but you're not giving that same energy that you're supposed to be giving for your husband. I feel like her facial reactions were doing the most. It was not about her. It was not her moment. She should have stayed home because she wanted to protest them. So I felt like she should have been on her protest kick and right on at the house with the kids or wherever they was, backstage or wherever they were.
Sis, why
take
should
it
she
back?
stay home from her
She wouldn't have
husband's
been at the
night?
house with the kids anyway.
No, she sure wouldn't have. She might have been somewhere else with
Oh
somebody else.
no,
Because
the kids' friends was there. Nope. The kids' friends was there. Nope. She was right where she needed to be. But moving right.
The kids aren't kids anymore. They're grown adults now.
Exactly. So
Well,
my
they're
point
kids
though
to us
is
'cause they're-
this is her husband's night. So why should she not be able to be there for her husband's night?
And she was there from the beginning, right after Sheree.
Well, I
Sheree,
do agree
she
with
was right
what the
there
caller
at the
just said.
beginning.
I do agree with what the caller just said. There was an issue with the fact that she wanted to boycott, and then that boycott was magically over once Will Smith was nominated. That's what did you do from? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mims.
Hello?
Go ahead,
What were you
Mims.
saying?
Go ahead, Mims.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something, but go ahead.
I personally took umbrage with the fact that she wanted to boycott the Oscars when Will wasn't nominated, as if her opinion of Will's performance would then make all Black people boycott. And now to show face just because he's nominated, I don't think that was a good look, first off.
Okay.
Secondly, I still think Will should have been there with who he wanted to be there with, Dwayne Martin.
Oh, stop. I'm not gonna do
can we get a drug test?
With the hot
And
take.
thirdly, can we get a drug test?
Okay, but let's get up off of that, guys.
Okay,
Let's get up off that. Now, my point though still is that we've got to taking all this into account with the history and the disrespect, right? I got to keep going down this little rabbit hole here. I don't know what their attitude was either before they got here. Has everyone seen the TikTok that they did before they came to the award ceremony?
No.
She looked pure evil, like she
Where
had
they
a
chose
demon
chaos?
in her. And that's why she needs to stay home. She had that demon up on her.
Let me just share this one right here. Here we go. Chrome tab and I ain't gonna take everybody down this time because otherwise y'all ain't gonna be hearing nothing. Here we go.
We live another day, and I am about to make it everyone's problem. Good morning, everyone. God has let me live another day, and I am about to make it everyone's problem.
So, at the beginning of that, if you couldn't hear it, it said, "Good morning, everyone. I woke up today, and I'm going to make it everyone's problem." And then the caption says, "Jada and I choose chaos." Why y'all choosing chaos?
Can we get a drug test on aisle 3, please?
Why are we choosing chaos?
Sorry. I have to go because my phone's about to die. So.
Okay, honey.
Thank you for allowing
me. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to be part of this panel. So, thank you.
Bye, Brandon.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. We enjoyed you.
Okay, honey. You come up anytime, okay?
Thank you
Okay.
so much for everything that you
All right, dear.
shared.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, and you're
All
welcome.
righty, honey.
That voice sounds
Who
familiar.
dog is that?
That's, I
We ain't got one.
Diva, what you got to say, sis?
You know about the TikTok video?
Or
I
about
think
anything. You sitting here.
okay.
You sitting here. Him
Because
listening.
listen, the TikTok video, I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's a joke, but now we're reading more into it because of everything that happened, right? I wholeheartedly, 10 toes down, do not believe that he went there and planned to mess up his night like that. I don't believe that at all. I'm sticking to the fact that he snapped. I really believe right now he's embarrassed, he's ashamed. He wish he can turn back the times in the clock and not handled it that way and not have done that, right? So, you know, I think what we have to look into, especially because of everything that's going on in the world over the last couple of years, there are more people and there are a lot of celebrities that unfortunately, they literally took their life during COVID. There was another celebrity that, you know, he couldn't take it. He was living alone and again was in a high-rise building and jumped out the window. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't think that it's far-fetched that, unfortunately, I really think it's a lot of mental health going on there. And I think the mental health has a lot to do with the fact of everything that went on since that red table talk and all the backlash they've been doing. And although they tried to move away from it, everywhere they go, people are saying about it. But you know, and I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to say this: the most people that are saying something about it to them is us, right? So they had what's her name, Lauren Cox, or I think her name is, or whatever, when she was on the red
Laverne Cox.
carpet. Yeah,
Laverne.
Laverne Cox. She wanted to say something about the entanglement. All right, it happened. They're not the only couple in Hollywood or in the world that has dealt with infidelity. She used a word that everybody made a joke over, the entanglement. But let's move on, guys. Let's let it go. But no one seemed to want to let it go, and they want to drag
Oh, no,
them
no, no,
for
no, no, no.
filth.
And I don't.
Okay. We let people finish, but
Yeah.
were you done, Miss Diva?
Yeah, go
Were
ahead.
you
Let her go
done?
ahead because she's saying she don't.
Okay,
Go ahead.
hon.
I'll hear it.
Okay, go ahead, Queen. Go ahead, Queen.
No, I was just saying that I don't. I just don't.
You don't what?
I don't want to let the entanglement go because she was so proudly and she put it out there for us. But that was Jaden's friend. Like how you dating your son's friend? How you
Oh,
getting
I think
with your
Diva was talking about the fact that we need to let this needs to get, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, Diva, but we're making this mountain out of really what honestly is a molehill, and it could potentially be our community that's making the most of it. But I'm also hearing a lot, from other communities, unfortunately,
well,
at
I
this
guess
point now.
my point is they both need therapy. They both need therapy. They need to seek some type of counseling.
All three of them do, but yes, I agree. The two of them do. We haven't even started talking about Jada's trauma yet. We haven't even got to the third party in this tri-legged stool of trauma
Why do
and
we
what
vilify
this
women?
energy they were bringing. Go ahead, what, honey?
Why do we vilify women in a way that we don't vilify men? Diddy actually dated his son's ex-girlfriend, and we're not talking about this all the time, and the age difference was greater.
Come on,
So
man.
Jada did it.
It's
I
a
mean, I
patriarchal
think the issue
society.
is that
That's
she
why.
chose to speak on it, but I don't understand why it's so much more of a larger deal. Also, I want to shift a little bit with Will Smith. One thing that I don't think that enough people are discussing is how he carefully crafted this image for all of these years, right? He was the poster child for that big ruckus laugh. He even did it when Laverne Cox made that joke. He was clearly uncomfortable, but he makes this extremely enormous laugh. Anytime he's uncomfortable, laughs it off and keeps moving. If you notice, he did the same thing at the Oscars until Jada shifted her eyes at him. It was that same thing. I think that this might actually bring about a new version of Will Smith, one that's more real. because these red table talks, I think that's Jada's method of being real. I don't think that Will ever wanted a part of that. I think Will would have died happy with everybody thinking he was the Black America sweetheart. I think that this will start conversations for him that will benefit him in the long run because he'll be more of a real person. I don't think that he needs to be canceled for slapping one person.
It's
I
too
do
late.
think that it was horrible. I categorically denounce what was done. I'm just saying I don't think he needs to be canceled. I
It's too late.
personally will not be canceling Will Smith. I think the lesson has been learned.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
too
not
late.
either. I'm not canceling. Corey, why do you say it's too late? You saying because
Hollywood has
Hollywood's
already done
done it?
so. Yes, he had movies. Okay, he has his own production company and studio and all, but what's that without distribution?
Nothing.
Right.
So they have effectively cut him off at the knees. And Mims, I'm not sure if you were here earlier when Lisa was talking about how at 9 he would make his
No, I
drunk
was at
father.
Popeyes getting a fish sandwich.
Okay, well at 9 he started that raucous laugh to keep his dad happy so he wouldn't hurt him, his siblings, and his mom. That's where that starts from. That's why Lisa was saying the 9-year-old Will and the 9-year-old Chris. I wholeheartedly believe that you have something here, Lisa, about this. He did snap as to Diva. I agree too, but it's like a pouring on. Like I've been keep saying this. When Quincy Jones put him on, they took him to Quincy, invited him over to his home. He had the who's who of Black people in Hollywood, and they programmed him how to not show emotion, how to take a joke, how to take a slap, so to speak, from the man and keep it moving and keep this same crafted outer shell. And when she couldn't keep August from talking about what they did, it chipped away at his armor. It chipped and it chipped and it chipped and it's keep on chipping. She broke his facade, and now
Corey,
the
I don't think that he's canceled.
Well, if he can't distribute his movies, what is he gonna do? If no one wants to work with him, what is he gonna do? If they're bringing
I
out
think that
people
things are
like
very
Paul
temporary.
Rodriguez,
I think it's fleeting. Monique did the same thing. Monique did the same thing, and now she is viable again.
What
Now that
Monique did is not the same thing. It's not. They're apples and oranges right now.
But not only that, Corey. 13 years later, though, Mims. So
I'm saying that she was canceled.
Yeah.
I don't think that Will will have to go through that. I think that Will can
she's
start
not
his
a Black
own
man.
production company. I think that people will distribute it.
This is a patriarchal society.
Yes, I do think that Monique was canceled. I think that people love a good comeback, and I think that it's momentary. We're still in 1 week. You guys realize that this just happened 7 days ago, right? We are realizing that this was just 7 days ago. People put things on hold all the time and then get taken off hold.
Yeah, but Miss, what we're saying is in 7 days, though, he has gotten the harshest punishment known to mankind.
Well,
they clearly said we are not putting out Bad Boys 4. They clearly said that Slave movie that he made, they know, they said it's an Oscar-winning performance. They're not putting it out. They listed every single thing that he had upcoming, and they said we're done. So not only that, even after he resigned, this is how evil they are. Even after he resigned, they arrogant said we accept his resignation. Not even like, oh, we're gonna think about it, talk to him. We don't think it needs to be that harsh that he resigns. They was like, we absolutely accept his resignation, and we're still speaking on the 18th. That means that we're still speaking on the 18th. Even though you resigned, baby boy, this is not over. They want to find this man. They want to put him to the ultimate punishment, and it is overkill. And like you said, 7 days. This is happening in just 7 days. The next thing you know, they're gonna want to take off of you know how they do syndication and they repeat the Fresh Prince and all of that. They're probably gonna snatch that down. Thank God. I hope he doesn't have anything to do with the rebirth of that Fresh Prince. They may shut that down. Well, see, they about to shut him down, and it's terrible. And what I'm saying is, We got to stand up, rise up, and stop this because it's too much. It's overkill.
And let me
Well,
just
guys,
say,
everybody, 1 second. 1 second. I have to address something in the chat. Folks in the chat, do not put certain words in the chat. Okay, we're not dealing with whether or not Will is the type of a husband that allows his woman to go sleep around, and the very graphic name for that. And if y'all don't know that name, we're all gonna have to meet separately, and I'll tell you later. So we're not doing that. I'm not doing all of the I want to get into Jada's drawers. I'm not doing all. We're not doing that. That's not what this channel is for. Now, if you want to talk that nasty, go over to some of them other channels that's talking nasty about it and wants to go on and string Will up from a tree. And that's not that. And I can guarantee you, those folks don't look like the folks that's up here on this channel. So what we not fixing to do is we not going to disrespect any of my brothers or my sisters. I hope I make myself perfectly clear. Now let's keep it going.
Amen.
Amen.
Hearts of inspiration. I just want to jump in really
Amen.
quickly and say it's such hypocrisy. I think that Will was wrong. Chris didn't necessarily deserve to get slapped, at least not on camera like that. But here's the thing. They promote so many reality shows with us fighting. They promote that, they profit on it. But now all of a sudden, when they're dressed up in their tuxedos, oh my God, proper society, this is unacceptable. The code of conduct. Why is the code of conduct okay for us to be slapping each other around, pulling off weaves, Jocelyn's cabaret, but it's not okay when they come up to the Oscar, all of a sudden that's something that's egregious and horrific and he needs to be stripped. If that's the case, then they need to not profit on any more reality shows or anything where people are putting their hands on somebody.
I got an answer for that, my love. So the answer is they got up that morning, put on their outfits, and manifested from their mouth what they wanted, and they got it. Let's take it back there.
They chose chaos.
Let that marinate. What did they get up and say?
I hear you.
It's gonna be total chaos, and everybody's gonna be in my business. Manifestation is real, people. Heart of inspiration. You've told me that. That manifestation is real. Be careful what you say out of your mouth. Your tongue is very powerful.
Oh, it's absolutely real. Now, I'm not going to say they didn't manifest that chaos that came about, because, on this channel, that is what we talk about. Life, the power of life and death is in the tongue. So what you say, be careful what you say, because you just might get it.
Okay. Yeah.
So
quicker than you thought about it.
But to Lav's point, we tend to be the butt of the jokes, or the butt of the we were shown as violent and all that kind of stuff from both sides of the fence. Then you shouldn't have. Will, now you just made us look the stereotype, right? To the other side, though, to Lav's point, y'all been making money off of it anyway.
Come on. Come on.
So now all of a sudden it's egregious, and now all of a sudden, because this didn't occur in a controlled environment, and I don't want anybody, I'm not even looking at the chat right now. I don't want anybody in the chat to think that I'm saying that this was right what happened. I'm not saying that. We've already discussed Chris and our concern for Chris, and if you want to rewind or watch the replay, we just had a wonderful young man on here, Corey's son, talking about he has Asperger's, and talking about what that's like to walk through life in society with a nonverbal cue kind of disorder, and Asperger's and the such, even though Chris does not have Asperger's. So I'm not, so if you rewind, okay, so get up off my back on that one too. Now what I want to say is this, though, we gotta own that fact, right? Why is it that the Housewives franchises, the two ones with us on it, Atlanta and Potomac, are the most violent of the two?
Yep.
Okay.
Why
is it? Why is that? There's this enjoyment from doing that. Now we do this to ourselves too, because we shouldn't, right? We do this to ourselves. We think the only way we're going to be able to be famous is to be infamous.
Right.
We got to step and fetch and whatnot, and act like people want us to act, right? So we got to do better ourselves, I think. That's
Yeah,
my only.
and then
That's my own
speaking on that,
opinion.
since we're already on here about the disrespect about them fighting, they also say some malicious, nasty, dirty things, which happened to Will. Chris said some nasty, dirty things, and Will
Yes.
reacted. You
Yeah.
know, and it's
Yeah.
all about what you watch. So be careful what you're out there watching and feeding your brain, feeding yourself.
Right.
I have to call hypocrisy on the academy because what kind of leadership are you all to wait until the public does an outcry and make a decision? We at the point where we can make an emergency meeting on what to
Come on.
decide to discipline somebody. You don't have to wait a whole full month for that to happen. You can do that right now. You don't have to wait till the public outcry to make a decision. You could do that right now. You don't have to meet face to face. There's Google Suites, there's Microsoft Teams, there's Zoom. I mean, like, I was
They want to
like,
torture him.
yes, they want to torture him, and I'm like, what kind of leadership are y'all?
Well,
Y'all
Yeah.
are
can I ask you? You want to know what kind of
Correct.
leadership they are?
Correct.
They're full of it. Before you know why they full of it? Because you're going to say this man is wrong after the fact, right? During that
exactly.
show, when he sat down in his seat, if this was so egregious, this was so bad, you shouldn't have allowed him to go up a stage, collect his award, get a standing ovation, go to the party afterwards and get jiggy with it. And only once you saw that the world was like, this was dead wrong, now you want to say, oh, we got to talk about it, we got to this, we got to that, whatever. Y'all messed up during the situation. You were supposed to protect the talent, Chris. You should have removed him. And then when it came time, even if he would have won the award, you would have been like, do the events earlier today. I'm sorry, he cannot come up on stage. We will make sure he gets his award and you move on. But you're going to act like you're punishing this man. And I think they're extra punishing him because they're embarrassed because they know they didn't do the right thing that night either. So he was wrong, but so were they.
Exactly,
Viva,
I agree. And
I
then
want
want
to
to
push back on that
backpedal.
really quick. I want to
We
push
got
back
some
on that really
feedback,
quickly.
baby.
Exactly.
You might have
I
yeah.
do
Some
feel
might
like
have a
Internet.
tab open.
after watching Packer
Oh, that's
discuss what the thought process was, I do feel like William Packer did say, hey, he's going to go up there and apologize, because he did say the thought and the consensus with everybody was that he was going to go up there and make it right with his brother. That's what came out of Packer.
It's hard to hear you.
Mims, you breaking up, darling. Mims, you
Oh, you
breaking
can't
up
hear
a
me?
little bit, honey. It's breaking. It's like real bad, staticky. Okay. While he's coming back, I'm gonna make a explanation. So trauma bonding, to me, I mean, this is not going to be the clinical, but trauma bonding is when, especially in this case, when multiple people have traumas that end up kind of linking up energetically.
Yep.
So or they have similar traumas, and then you bond over the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So for Will and Jada had her traumas growing up with mom being a hair, and then this isn't just allegedly, this is what's been stated, that mom had a heroin addiction. Grandma was the one that raised her. That grandma also taught her a lot about her own body, sexuality, so on and so forth. Very improper at a very young age. She did have her own substance issues. She did have her own that she's dealt drugs and things like that, and that's how her and all this, the culture of that is how her and Pac got together or bonded or were friends, right? They went to school together, so on and so forth. So this is where that all happened. So now you have a similar situation where there was there was levels of things that happened. Childhood was not very good. Mother and neither mother nor father really were able to necessarily be there to the point that they wanted to be there. And so that bonds in with Will's. Here we've got Will over here. He seems to have a good situation going on over here with Shireen and a child. But now the bond of this woman comes in at, because now here's the similarities of this very dysfunctional childhood that then all comes together, and young adulthood, and you're two young black people in the business in Hollywood. This was kind of like, if you could have made an arranged marriage, this would have been the arrangement at that time you would have made. And so now those two bond over this situation. She is a woman that never intended to ever be either controlled by a man. She wanted the strong man. She was going to wear the pants. She was going to be a I am woman, hear me roar, da 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 da. Not that that's a bad thing. And he's like, I got to be, I'm gonna be your protector. I'm gonna be this. I need a strong woman. Can we just say that? I need this. Like, there's a whole lot that gets wrapped up in that whole situation. And then here we have Chris, who experienced all the bullying and everything. I'm seeing people in the chat say they have history from 1996.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I have to go back and look. So they're all in Black Hollywood and interacting. So now we have this convergence of these three hurt people that ain't dealt with their ish. And it's been building up and building up and building up. And the explosion happened on that stage that night.
You make a great point when you said that he needed a strong woman, because Jada would be the opposite of what his mom would be. But I mean, because Jada was always very spicy. She was an activist. So that's the opposite of his mom that was abused. Like, Jada is masculine. She has masculine energy. And I'm sorry if I overtalk somebody.
Oh no, it's okay. They call it, Lisa, they call it unconscious energy that connects. Just like when you ever have a person where they wonder, why do I keep getting the same type of men in my life with a different name? It's that unchecked, unconscious energy that are drawing y'all two together. And until you get therapy, that's why they said sit back, relax, reflect on what happened in your past relationship before you get into another one. Because if you don't check that stuff, it's going to show up in the next person. Just like when people say they want to move because they want to get away from everything. Well, honey, all of that luggage you got here is going to show up in the next town that you move in. It's going to be there before you. You got to check the energy. So yes, I do agree with you that their energy brought these three together, and they all have similar trauma in their life that was never checked. And it all played out in the situation that went on with them over the years and even that night. And when you have unchecked energy like that, at some point you're liable to bust and snap. And so Will Smith happened to snap. Chris Rock did what he knows to do, because when he had that brick in his bag and he knew in his mind that hurting this person would be dead wrong, he also said that he never wanted to get to that place again, where he would have a brick in his bag and he can really hurt and harm somebody to that point. But he also learned a good trait, right? Because when he saw that man that was security on the set, he already knew, I don't need to curse this man out. I don't need to say, you see where I'm at now, you see you. He felt bad for him. You know why? Because he knew, I already won. You security, I'm not. And I'm not trying to say that in a derogatory way, right? But you already won. That's even no matter what trauma, that's still a higher level of energy that you are at that point where you don't even have to turn around and say, hey, see what I'm at now? Look at you. You bullied me. And now what? He looked at him and felt bad for him, saying, you could have been in this trailer chilling with us. But because you chose to act that way, look at you and look where I'm at now. So although he might still be dealing with some trauma when he's on that stage, because he clearly said at his first show, he's still processing it. But even though, like, he really saved the culture in the world and everything, because if it was somebody else, it could have been a brawl on the stage. It could have been a full-blown brawl on that stage, but he didn't. I still give it up, no matter what's going on in his mind. I give it up to Chris Rock, because even in the aftermath, he's still handling it like a true gentleman. He's not saying nothing, and he could add more fuel to the fire.
He could, and he'd be well within his right to. I don't mean, Andrea, you were trying to say something that I want to bring smoke in on the conversation too, guys.
Thank you. I wanted to say two things to kind of piggyback Corey and really everyone in that like bubbling over snapped effect. Because even when Will was speaking later on in that evening, he started to also kind of break down about how he was in the industry taught how to turn the other cheek, be disrespected, elevate, put essentially maybe even dumbing himself down, putting himself down, into the habit of not affirming himself in order to attain, I guess, heights of Hollywood, I guess, right? And as a Black man, him having the childhood trauma that he had, the marriage, right? This relationship with Jada that is also inflicting some kind of trauma. I think that snapped bubbling over effect is something to continue talking about, because it's not like he's not the exception to the rule. This could happen to any and all of us at any given point if we're not dealing with the things that are, deeper and that are really the source of our anger, our bad choices, our failed relationship, divorces, and all of that kind of thing. So I just kind of wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. I agree. Smoke's having a little internet issues, in the words of AT2. Trying to
could I
find
go?
Okay, good. All right. I agree with you, Andrea. Completely agree. Tulsa, what did you want to weigh in on this?
Yes. What I was gonna say is everybody up here on this panel, I'm gonna come to your job and slap the taste out y'all mouth, slap y'all out y'all chair, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all gonna do in your workplace while you're
But Tulsa,
trying to do
that's not
your
what we're talking
job.
about. Tulsa, we are already saying that was wrong. We're talking about the behind the what was wrong.
Okay, so
right.
I was going somewhere. I want y'all to feel those emotions.
Can you hear me?
I want
We
y'all
can
to
hear you
feel
now,
those
Smoke.
emotions.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Well, Tulsa, I have been attacked at work. I've been verbally attacked at work. I've been physically assaulted at work. So, I mean, that's happened. But what we're talking about here is what I wanted to get deeper than just that surface. I wanted to get down behind of how did we build to this point, and can we find grace for everybody in
the situation?
Right? Because I think it's a lot of what I've been observing all across, quote unquote Black and quote unquote white YouTube, is that there's a significant chunk of people that are just like, cancel him, get rid of him. He's got more than enough money. He doesn't deserve to work anymore. He doesn't deserve that anymore. I'm like, yo, whoa.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, come on now. Like y'all are acting like he is this pariah and this monster, and that's not the case. The punishment's got to fit the crime, y'all. We can't overdo like we typically get overdone.
But even to that point, Hunts, inspiration, Paul Mooney always has said, when you have the complexion for the protection for the collection. So it's just, it's unfortunate that, Will, as a Black man at the height of his career on what he's worked 30 years to get to, it all came crashing down in one moment. One moment. And I was listening to the conversation and out, but just as far as like the trauma bonding, like I can relate to Chris because I was like bullied a lot as a kid growing up, and I had to like go through like consistent therapy and counseling. And even now, and I tell people this is like, trust me, I know where I can go if I allow myself to go there. So like I have a higher threshold and I have to think twice about reacting to things because I can switch Black instantly, and then that's going to be a problem for me and someone else. So I just like just replaying the moment back in my head. I just wish that Will would have just looked at you. You are about to be one of 5 that's about to get the highest accolade in your industry, and it's like there's nothing someone could have said or done to you that could have thrown you off that pedestal. And even bringing Jada into the mix, like granted, people have open marriages, they have different rules, they can do whatever. That's fine. People are grown adults. But I guess I honestly feel like the slap he's really wanted to slap Jada versus Chris because of just, I guess, the embarrassment. Granted, I'm not blaming her or anything, but when he sat at that table and she was talking about the entanglement and how she wasn't satisfied from it, I know that had to break his ego down as a man in front of the world and kind of be like, oh well, I love her, but it's just like, in the words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it?
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to have a discussion about Miss Jada another day, because y'all know I haven't talked about Miss Jada and how much she puts out here. She got a whole nother level of energy. But
she's not healed, beloved. She needs to do the work herself before she can be telling people what else to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
May I say something?
Yeah.
I guess what I was saying earlier was, if for like a normal person, if we were to do that, we would go to jail and we would have to go to court or be on probation or something. But what I'm saying is, he's in a different phase in life, tax bracket. And so my question to him is, why wasn't therapy, was therapy a part of his life?
He is in
Because when
therapy.
you speak about trauma, because I have PTSD, and I don't know if you guys know about EMDR, but it helps you process trauma. It's a hand and eye motion. I'm just curious, was he seeking therapy?
He's in therapy.
Yep.
He's in therapy, and was he addressing those issues? Like, I mean,
Yes.
Well, I
I'm
think that's
stuck.
between him and his therapist. I don't know. I would assume so. But I don't think that we can assume just because you're in therapy.
Okay.
You won't react to triggers.
There's also suffering in silence as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it's just Jada. It's Jada. Jada is Jada just needs to go ahead and be with a woman and let him be with a man.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think that's
okay.
Okay. Can I say something real quick? As
Yes, baby. Yes, baby.
As the only person here that grew up with Jada. Hello. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I can't stand her because she bullied me as a kid. I can't stand her, but I'm going to cape for her because it's not her fault. They all are going through stuff in Black Hollywood. You don't know. I've read Taraji P. Henson's book. It was pretty good. She has gone through a tremendous amount of trauma. Her father was bipolar, and she witnessed a whole lot of stuff and her father's actions and things. The problem is, we are all going, as Black people or melanated people, period, or colonized people, we are going through generational trauma and PTSD. It just keeps rolling over because we, as peoples of color and colonized people, do not seek the help that we need. So it's not only her fault. It's all of their fault, actually.
And that's what I was wanting to bring out, is that all things considered, everything created the tsunami. Now, I will still say, though, Will and Jada, please, next time you about to go to a function, please do not
choose chaos.
Say that we are invoking chaos. Okay, please don't say we bring it. Please don't, because that's not a good thing.
Miss Lisa, I do have to point out, since y'all are talking about that, that could play an effect of how they react as well. You know, the silent generation where they don't talk about anything, and once you do ask them things, it's like, no, I don't want to talk about it, because that's a trauma that you're bringing up from how they from how they been upbringing. So now that we are asking more questions, now it's just like, well, dang, can I get to the root of the problem so we can be able to fix it, and then have healthy solutions on how we can approach people and how to communicate with people now? Because in the age of social media, you know, there's been less and less of face-to-face interaction. It's more of, you know, virtual interaction. And I have done a research paper alongside with my brother about the effects and how everything is changing in today's society about social media. So I do have to put that factor into how things are unfolding nowadays.
And speaking of factors, can you relay a message to her and just tell her to tell Tupac to just let her go? Let her go and let her be ready for her husband.
Queen,
She said she never
y'all,
wanted to be married. She did it because her
Queen,
mama didn't wanted it. I was just let her go.
She got
Let her
married
Queen
because she was
tells,
pregnant.
Queen tells, yeah,
Okay.
that child.
You can tell Tupac yourself because he's right there in heaven. You can say, hey, Pop,
No,
what's up?
he up in
Hey,
here.
Afeni.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, Tupac,
Diva,
just
diva,
just
diva,
steer in the
diva,
right
bring me back.
way.
Diva, bring me back here. Bring us
Oh,
back here. Bring us back here, diva. Bring us
listen,
back.
this
Laugh,
this
bring us
how
back.
this how I want to bring it back. You know,
Wow.
they say too much is given, too much is given, much is required, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing that they're going on in Hollywood with them, it goes on with the everyday brown and black people in their lives every day. And we have to grit and bear it. We have to remain calm. We have to learn how to be quiet. They're going through it, but they get paid more. Okay, so we go through it and we get paid much less, and we probably endure much, much more. I don't care if you stop right now, Lisa, and you drop by a Target, a Walmart, a supermarket, corporate America, and you speak to the brown and black people, they going through some stuff.
Yes,
Okay,
they are.
they're being spoken to a certain way by certain supervisors. They are being looked over for promotions. They're not giving raises. I spoke to one person that said 5 years on the job and they haven't gotten a raise. That's just insanity.
Wow.
So
5 years?
5 years,
Oh
5 years,
my.
they have not
Wow.
gotten a raise. And that's just a low level piece of it. If you go to speak to these people, they're going through some stuff too. So I don't doubt that they don't go through stuff in Hollywood. We all go through it, but you have to learn how to respond to the situation in a way that your punishment is not going to be severe. Right. So also too, I'm not saying just look like with Will and whatever, but people kill me when they want to talk about their whole life. They're doing well. They're making money. They learn how to control themselves their whole life. And then when one situation comes up, they want to blame it on their childhood. Well, in my childhood, my mother beat my father and this, that, and the other. But you managed to make all of these movies and do 200 other things. But now all of a sudden, this situation, you want to blame it back on yesteryear. I'm not saying that it's not possible. But what I'm
Right.
saying is people love to take out of their bag when necessary, when they want to say that this happened in their childhood. This is stuff that is 100% proven. If you ask any psychiatrist or psychiatrist, they will tell you that 90% of the people in the world, and actually the number's a little higher, they say, have grown up in dysfunctional childhood and families. There is
Yep.
no perfect home.
Yep.
So
Right.
we can't all wake up and then say, now I've been functioning all my life. And now I do one thing. Well, my father and my mother beat me, and my dad was an alcoholic, and I watched all of that. Yo, even the people that are the richest people, they have gone through some stuff in their childhood. Sometimes we gotta straight take ownership for the things that we have done. You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
I get it. Will might have been through a whole lot. But we can tap into, we get a room of 10 people, even us on the panel here. If everybody would have talked, somebody on this panel have been through some childhood trauma, but they're not on the streets punching people in the face, taking people out and slapping people, right? So my thing is, Will needs counseling for sure. I do agree that he snapped. Chris Rock needs some counseling too, in the sense that there's a balance. Although I don't think he needed to put his hands on anybody, what happened was when it was went to the backstage, he felt necessary more to protect Will than to protect himself, right? And again, I'm not saying that he should have said Will should have got locked up or whatever, but I think he went into protection role of Will more than protecting himself. And even to this
Absolutely.
very moment, somebody was at one of his concerts that sold out, and they was yelling out. He got them kicked out for trying to say something about Will and the whole situation. That's why I'm like, this man, if I could meet anybody or be friends with anybody, I would love to be friends with him. Because what we have to understand wholeheartedly, wrong, right, or indifferent, we always better remain calm. when we don't remain calm, this is when we see in our community our brothers not making it home from a stop with a police officer because they couldn't remain calm. So you gotta always, there was this one cop said, no, this one lawyer said that, you know what? It is better to just go ahead, give them the name, give them your ID, try to remain calm, and so that you can get home and fight it later instead of your family having to fight it for you. So Will Smith messed up wholeheartedly. Do I think there's trauma back there that contributed to the situation? Yes. But the reason why I'm saying he could have checked it a little bit more is because we all are in agreement that if there was another comedian up on stage, that 9-year-old would have kept in his seat.
But
Can
to
I
both
say
the earlier
as a,
point, Diva, can I?
as a
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Smoke. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Smoke.
to an earlier point that you were saying, as far as like, you know, Will was able to live a life and not have any issue except for now. I am thinking like the mom and dad trauma, I think it's a divergent. I don't think it's really that. I think he's disillusioned. He was disillusioned about his marriage to Jada. He thought he can make it work and kind of just go do whatever, well, not do whatever, but kind of just make the changes that would make her happy. But I feel like he doesn't want to accept that truth, because if he accepts the truth that his marriage is not what he thinks it is or wants it to be, to me, I feel like that is something he's trying to avoid. So he's laying on his childhood trauma to cover up the real truth of what's going on in his life and why he lashed out in a public setting in that way.
I don't think Smoke. Can I just push back real quick?
Oh, push back.
Smoke. He's never not said his marriage wasn't trash. Now that's all. I mean, they made the joke about bad marriage for life and all that stuff. And in fact, I was just searching for, because I found
Hey, Gemini.
a moment. Yeah, Gemini has made her appearance. I guess she's ready for us to get off of here, so we're gonna have to get off in a minute. Where a Spanish TV host, I guess, made a flattering statement to Jada, and I guess it went a little too far for Mr. Will, and Mr. Will told him in Espanol, "Don't talk to my wife like that."
Yes, he did.
Like, you know, he checked him now.
But also, let's not forget Jamie Foxx came out and said how they were at with Nelson Mandela, and Nelson Mandela had told Jamie Foxx, "You look like Mike Tyson," because he had gained weight, and Jamie Foxx retorted and said, "And you look like Uncle Ben." And Will Smith grabbed him up by the neck and kind of drug him. So he is a person to some degree who doesn't like people to be disrespected or what he thinks is disrespectful. So I thought,
yeah, right.
That's a good one.
It's a history there. Will Smith has a history. It's just that this particular incident was one of the worst, right? But there's a history there. But let me say this to you, Smoke. There's also a history that their marriage was open way before Jada stuff came out. There's been many spottings with Will with some other female. So that's why we have to have another one, Heart Inspiration. Y'all gonna get up off of Jada. The only reason why, and I do believe that little August Alistino, whatever his name is, he said, Will gave me permission to be with Jada. That is for real. He gave him permission. And you want to know why? Because Will knew what he was doing, and he knew they been had an open marriage. The only thing that's pissing them off is that Jada's came out. He told her we're going to talk about it on this red table because they wanted to control the narrative. He just went sideways for them. And when he said, no, tell him, he told her, tell him what you're trying to say. And then that's when the word that came to her mouth was entanglement. And then that just dragged them for filth when they said that. But no, Will is not an innocent party in this situation. And we're going to get up off of Jada.
I'm not blaming Jada. I'm not saying they're both accountable. They're in the marriage together. It takes two to tango. So I'm just saying they're both accountable for how the relationship has got to where it has gotten to where it's leading to things bleeding out in other areas of their life. That's all I'm saying.
You're saying that Will, at this point now, he has the pot done boiled over. The marriage isn't isn't what he originally wanted.
Right.
He went along to get along until all this time, right? He just kind of dealt with it. But now the embarrassment has just sent him over the edge. I'm not putting words.
That's how I'm taking. I'm saying that's a part of it. There could be other things, but for me, I can see that angle as well, because we can I'll speak for myself. I've misdirected anger at other people where it's like, instead of addressing the issue head on or saying what I need to say or who I need to say it to, I end up blowing up at somebody that just like said one thing that might have been so small, and it's kind of just like they were just the last anchor that kind of just like, okay, I have to just get this out. So that's what I'm saying in regards to to Will and like what has happened as far as like, maybe it's not the childhood trauma. Maybe it's just him acting out because he's frustrated in his marriage and he can't get out. He unfortunately, like, if he tries to get out, Jada gets half of everything because they got married in California. And I think it's kind of like a
There's no
Beyonce,
prenup.
but they're married in California. So even if they divorce, she still gets half of what he has.
She sure does.
Yeah.
But there's
They
no
still,
prenup.
they
So can
still
I
love
just
each
say this?
other.
And
Just from a mental health perspective, because I'm advocate for mental health, I take a medicine that keeps me cool. Will, if you're listening, go see a psychiatrist and just let them know, hey, put me on a mood stabilizer so you can control yourself when you're in those environments. And speaking on trauma,
He
I'm
gonna be
glad
back in
that
them environments. He gonna be invited, baby.
well, no, what I was gonna say is I'm just glad that I'm on mine because I was in a situation, I have PTSD and I was pulled over and I was triggered and things went left and out of my control. However, um, I was able to stay in control and just don't worry about going back and forth or trying to fight that ticket because I can fight it in court. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
that was a
No,
triggering experience for me. And
But
thank
look at
God that,
and
Denzel
I have.
Washington. He's been in Hollywood for how many years, and we don't know what he's endured to get to where he
a
has gotten,
lot.
but he's always
Mhm.
kept a level head because he understands it's much more than me. Everything I do is much more than
Right.
my ego, because there are like other black artists, male or female, who are behind me and aside, who are next to me, that I can't act out in any kind of way. So you
Well,
have
he
to
drugged
like,
Alan Pompeo though.
no, he did. He like dismissed it. Be like, I don't know what she's talking about. Like, I don't remember. He knows how to have his energy at a high frequency where it's like you have to match him in order to get to him and have conversation. He's not gonna get down into the gutter with you. That's just not him.
He
He
pick
has
and
too much
chooses
to
his
lose.
battles.
Right. You don't have to respond to everything.
Very calculated.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay, guys, listen. I didn't mean to keep y'all here all
It's
afternoon,
a
y'all.
good
I probably should start
conversation.
thinking
We
about
getting
letting y'all
educated.
go.
Okay.
Yeah. Look,
And sorry I got all passionate.
No, that's fine. We
no, I
love
love the
passion.
passion.
No,
That's
I
great.
love
this
the
is
That's
what we're
great.
passion.
here for.
And
true.
I love the fact that we can have these grown up conversations about growing up topics, and I want to dive deeper into that because I do feel like sometimes we can basically be the Walking Dead, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I could
Yes,
be.
yes.
I was a highly functional,
Yep.
hurt little girl,
Mm-hmm.
very successful, and it just took a point. And in fact, the point where it should have boiled over, and Diva knows what I'm talking about. The point where it should have boiled over, it didn't. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't even be here talking to y'all. Not like this. Um, so yes, there is a level of, you need to be able to control yourself. But I can also say that, like, I think a lot of us, I just want us to recognize that if there's something going on, find somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Find somebody to talk to. Do not allow other people, the world, whatever, your family, your significant other, whomever it is, don't allow the level of disrespect and hurt and harm to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a therapist, a psychologist, if it's a life coach, if it's, one of us woo-woo people, come on, talk to one of us. We're here to help you. But find someone to talk to so you
Absolutely.
can begin to work through these things and then become healed and allow it to be your power rather than simply your pain that then results in your punishment.
Yeah, amen.
Yes.
Woo.
I know
Lean,
you better lay that word down.
lean on
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
You better.
So just
Lean on me.
just I want y'all to do that. Okay. I want everybody in the audience to do that. Y'all, this was fun. We're gonna have to get together on another Sunday afternoon. I have to send y'all a plate when I cook.
Give us the good greens and macaroni
Especially
and
that
cheese.
You can
Easter,
let
that
your
Easter plate.
Okay.
You can let your time.
I'm waiting
Thank
on that
you.
virtual Easter plate.
I want to thank everybody, and I really especially want to thank
Yes,
Laz
thank
because
you.
she was on my Instagram live yesterday that I did spur of a moment, and that's how this whole conversation was born. So thank you very much, Laugh,
Thank
Gags, and
you.
Gossip. Now we've got Laugh, Gags, and Gossip has a channel. Corey, do you a channel?
I am working with Lola Lane,
Okay.
and we have a Love and Marriage Huntsville coming up soon.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's the name of your channel, Corey?
Lola Lane.
Lola Lane. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you can find Corey and Lola Lane with her partner, Lola Lane. Gray Hair Diva. You have a channel on YouTube, yes?
Yes, Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva.
Okay.
Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. Andrea Nelson has the channel. Please go check her out as well. Andrea, is it under your name? Yes?
That's
Andrea?
She might
right.
be.
Just Andre Nelson, just on the screen.
I
Okay.
don't know. I'm gonna say your name right. I'm so sorry, Andrea, dear. I'm so sorry. That's so wrong. Melinda J has a channel as well. Melinda J is the name of your channel. Is that true, dear?
Yes, ma'am, indeed.
All the Smoke gonna get a channel because we're gonna force him to.
Come
I
on,
know
all the
that's right.
smoke. We need that content.
Right.
I mean, get that
That's
money.
right.
I keep hearing it, so I'm gonna do it.
Take
All
it to
Okay,
right,
the
dear.
now.
Okay,
Okay.
when you hear it 3 times, that's something right there.
You heard it here first, right?
That's right.
Queen
I
Tulsa is
told him to
keeping up with Queen
on
Tulsa.
his channel the other day. So this is definitely the third time.
There you go.
Yes.
Once, twice, 3 times a YouTube creator. Okay. Keeping up with Queen Tulsa. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So this is Queen Tulsa, and my channel is Keeping Up with Queen Tulsa. And I want to say thank you all for coming up, fellowshipping, and us having a conversation that's uncomfortable, and all of us agreeing to disagree and still loving and respecting each other at the end of the day.
That's right.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Love you, sis.
I love you too.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, gang. I'm going to let everybody get on down. And
Okay.
as I'm letting everybody get on down, thank you guys so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone
Bye.
in the
Everyone.
chat. Thank you, everyone that's come on through and come on in the room.